Welcome to FBC News. Fiji is not moved by the Pacific Islands Forum's decision to keep Fiji suspended from the regional bloc. Though the forum noted Fiji's progress towards democracy, they maintain no major changes will happen until after elections. Eleanor Turangaivu has more.
New Zealand's Prime Minister John Key says the reason Fiji was not reinstated is because of serious questions such as what happens to the military and whether they will be sent back to the barracks after the elections. He says they will be watching to ensure Fiji's Prime Minister pays heed to the Constitutional Commission.
And that's obviously his opinion, but as you saw, the engaging with the Pacific meeting that the Prime Minister held, the view was something completely different, that they wanted Fiji to participate in the forum, and it will then demonstrate that John Key is in the minority.
Saad Kayum says Australia and New Zealand's non-engagement with Fiji created the situation, but Fiji is always willing to talk.
No, we are always open to talk to, engage with everybody, as long as our sovereignty is respected and we have self-respect, not bully boy tactics, which I think some of the countries are used to, are imposing on others.
He says Fiji's inclusion in an alternate forum, the Pacific Islands Development Forum, should send a clear message to Australia and New Zealand.
I think Australia and New Zealand needs to ask more questions of themselves, and how do they sit or position themselves regarding the smaller Pacific Island countries who are much smaller than them economically, in terms of territory-wise, but they're all engaged with Fiji.
Despite Fiji's suspension, the Pacific section of the Africa, Caribbean and Pacific Group has decided Fiji should again be allowed to participate in its processes. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
Close to 500,000 Fijians have registered for the 2014 elections, as the electronic voter registration ends today. The exact figure will be finalized by tomorrow, and the government has commended those who have registered. Vosita Kote Wasawasa has more.
All data collected over the 60-day period will now be verified by the Elections Office.
Now, one of the reasons why we wanted majority of the Fijians to be registered in the first lot, so that makes it a lot easier to verify the data. I mean, there could be somebody, for example, trying to test the system. They may have gone and registered themselves in Nandi and then now in Suva again, as we know that people have done it previously.
The EVR will resume in November.
Then we will again open up registration centres, but not in so many numbers. Which, as you know, we made a special effort to go out to specific areas, isolated areas, to go out and reach out to the public and get them registered. But this time around there'll be a lot more, not as many, but some permanent localities.
Saad Kayum says, following this from next year, a strategy will be in place for Fiji citizens abroad.
There are many Fijians who are working in USA, Australia, New Zealand, in the Middle East, in Afghanistan, who are in the British Army, etc., who are still Fijian citizens. And we want to give them the opportunity to register also. So it'll be an exercise we'll be focusing next year.
Saad Kayum adds, reaching the 500,000 figure was a benchmark, considering the time the exercise was carried out.
We always knew that we may not necessarily get 600,000, but if we set ourselves a high benchmark, then we're able to get very close to it. And this has never been done before. I mean, we should all congratulate all Fijians, those people who've gone out and registered.
The Elections Minister has commended EVR clerks for ensuring that everyone who are willing are registered. Vosita Kote Wasawasa, FBC News.
Fiji troops serving in the Middle East can expect a high-level visit soon. Defence and National Security Minister Choketani Dzokanasinghe will be touring countries where Fiji peacekeepers are based. As Eleanor Turangaivu reports, he flies off next week.
Over 200 Fijians are serving in the Middle East as part of the United Nations peacekeeping missions. The Kanasinghe and his entourage, including the Land Force Commander Colonel Moses Tikwetonga, want to see how our boys will fare, with America pulling out.
To support and to show that the Fiji government value those contributions that our soldiers are on the ground. It will be a moral booster as well for them.
But first, the delegation will be in New York to hold discussions with UN officials on Fiji's peacekeeping operations.
Discuss those issues with regards to our soldiers or the police, should they be needed. We also stand ready to assist and also to facilitate and also their welfare.
And with Fijians in the British Army facing their own problems, the ministerial group has made plans to look into their plight.
Have time with our Fijian soldiers in the British Army, knowing that there are issues have been raised, we all know, and are concerned, so he will be having time with them there in London.
Troops in the Middle East returned home after a 6-month tour of duty. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.